Good morning and welcome to World Beer News. I'm Nitch, and today we'll be going from Manitoba, Canada, where hockey players are being accused of undermining the law, while Guinness is getting sour responses from locals on their handling of environmental waste in Nigeria. All of that coming up, but when it comes to the flavors in our glass, I think we can all agree on one thing. We want what we pay for. People in South Jersey like pork rolls. Want to mix your beer and tea together, so go for it. Beer geeks around the world have been sifting through their vintage bottle collections and pulling out Bourbon County. So when a company releases a specialty line of beer promising a complex vintage brew that is not only difficult to obtain but luxuriously priced, we want what we were promised. There have been recalls, apologies, and reimbursements, but what do the beers really taste like, and should you throw them away for sure? Josh Noel at the Chicago Tribune called up John Larson, a local beer hoarder, and they tasted the 4 infected beers. You can find that article in the links below, along with links to all of the pieces in this video. Corporate management can be a little nutty, but newly appointed Stone Brewing CEO may be more into nuts than we're used to. He has a great skill set for the role, and he is by far the best cultural fit of anyone we've talked to. Dominique Ingalls attended Northwestern University's Kellogg School of Management. He speaks German, which is important because Stone will officially open its Berlin Brewery and Bistro on September 14th. He has also worked for companies that focused on golf, clothing, and he has experience with wonderful nuts. Let's just hope he's arrogant enough. Even though in the past 2 years, Mar del Plata, Argentina has more than 25 breweries which have opened in different parts of the city, citing a surge in craft beer production and to wider audience demand, the country itself is nearly entirely owned by AB InBev. 91% ABI owned. The Qualms Brewery will invest 26,870 million pesos over the next 5 years in Argentina. According to Wiki, it owns 75% of the beer market share in Argentina. It sponsors the Argentina national football team, and the colors of its label are that of the Argentinian flag. You could have yourself a whole country beer if you wanted. The Vietnamese government will sell its entire 89.59% stake in Saigon Beer Alcohol Beverage Corp, commonly known as SAFCO, for $1.8 billion, and its 82% holding in Hanoi Beer Alcohol Beverage Corp, or HEBCO, for $404 million. And that there is less than half of what Ballast Point sold for, so, get in there. The brand of choice for drinkers in Africa is Guinness. It's a Diageo-owned and operated company, and last week they caused a panic as a contractor dumped expired malt extract in a community area at night. As many homebrewers know, malt syrup extract is normally less expensive, but it must be used in less than 3 months after opening, or the syrup will degrade or grow mold or turn into whatever we don't know. So residents of this area in Nigeria have raised the alarm over the dumping of a suspected toxic substance, stating that the persons were led by a contractor hired by Guinness Nigeria PLC to dispose of the extract. So culprits intended to bury 200 drums of in the community before they were apprehended. If it was a legitimate business, why did they come at night? A spokesperson for Guinness Nigeria PLC told PunchNG.com that the disposal of the waste was not illegal, but a collaboration between the company, the government, and an environmentalist. They go on to say that the government had complained about them disposing raw material without involving them, but that this site was government approved, even if the permit itself was not properly handled. To dump toxic waste in an environmentally sensitive ecosystem, particularly in the rainy season, can be described as a deliberate act of criminality and an injustice to the environment. barons have a hard time cutting costs and at the same time ramping up excitement. Over in Ireland, Guinness is using Jason Momoa, aka Khal Drogo. Khal Drogo? Did you watch that show? To release their first ever sour beer. He seems to be a nice guy. It would be interesting to know how he would feel if expired malt extract was plopped in his backyard in a bunch of barrels overnight. What isn't the way to go about growing hops is to throw invasive strains into the wild. A sharp-eyed Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources botanist visiting the Chippewa Falls area recently found Japanese hops while hiking. Have you seen this hop plant? This eager-to-grow plant can unfortunately become a monoculture, crowding out native vegetation and even toppling trees. If you were in west central Wisconsin, it is important to locate any other possible sites to prevent this plant from spreading. So, homebrewers, get out there, tear them down. This may look like some kind of a indie film intro, but it's real. These Canadian dudes at about 3:39 a.m. went for a literal beer run with hockey sticks and all. They seem to know exactly which beer they wanted. The police are taking this very seriously. He may have been a defenseman or forward in disguise as he was wearing a jersey number 17, a non-traditional number for goalies. I don't know what that accent is. That's not Canadian. I can't do that on me. I'm not gonna try. A museum in Bourbon County tells the history of beer from ancient Egypt to present day. But for those more interested in drinking, there's also a tasting hall. I spoke with Rick Green, the author of How to Drink Beer in Mandarin, learning the language of craft beer in China, and the founder of the Great Hop Forward project. The concept of Chum's Brewseum is an interesting one. He's brewing craft beer and serving food. So you would think it's a brew pub, but I suspect the brew house is quite separate from the restaurant because of legal requirements. The museum component really seems more like an upstairs gallery than what you typically imagine a museum to be. Changing culture takes a lot of time and effort. This is also something that Mr. Green pointed out. People need to be educated and the government needs to remove regulatory barriers, such as considering brewing strictly an industrial enterprise, therefore not allowing brew pubs in non-industrial areas. Support China's movement into the good beer scene by following Mr. Rick Green on Twitter or picking up his book to start your own adventures in language and beer learning. It's a lot of fun. I think I'm gonna get a tattoo of one of them. China isn't the only place looking to open a brewseum. After 2 years of research and groundwork, a team of Pittsburgh beer lovers are announcing plans for a 50,000 square foot space called Brew. Fundraising is scheduled to begin on Indiegogo this October, so look forward to that. However, this is just one of 3 proposed beer museums that are in planning right now. Chicago's Brewseum, it's also in the fundraising phase, and Milwaukee's Museum of Beer and Brewing, on top of the already installed National Brewery Museum in Potosi, Wisconsin. You can find me online at tastingnitch or on one of these other videos. And thank you for watching. Have a great day, and I will see you next week. Oh, I almost forgot. You know that thing about how mosquitoes are attracted to beer? Well, apparently it may be kind of true. Look, a beer promoter, the only woman in Singapore yet to have Zika. That's a little daunting. I'm still not changing my ways, though. But that isn't stopping small organic farmers around New England from attempting to grow some of the best hops in the world, nor does it stop headlines from reading, "A nationwide shortage continues. Demand for North Dakota hops greater than supply." Wah, wah, wah.